Welcome back to another episode of the Top 6. What a barnstorming, exciting start to the week as the majority of clubs return to their pre-season training. Man United have secured the deal for Christian Eriksen. He will become a Manchester United player. Big reports coming from the continent that Man United believe this week they will seal the deal for Lisandro Martinez as well. We're going to be delving into those stories. We're also going to have a big focus on Chelsea today. Big rumors of Cristiano Ronaldo to Chelsea. Neymar also may be on his way to the Premier League, with Chelsea being offered the chance to sign him as well. We're going to take a look at the two North London teams, how the fans are thinking and feeling around their window so far, and delve into some of the wider topics surrounding the transfer window, buying players of a certain age, etc., etc., etc. Lots of debates to delve into, lots of news to cover. Brilliant panel tonight. Roy, the Chelsea fan, will be joining us a little bit later. He's on his way home. But I've got Colleen and Igal here backing Arsenal. How are you both doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you? Colleen, been a while. How you been?
I know, really good. I feel like it's all new again. Like, what do I do? What do I say? It's great. Great to be back.
There you go.
Good. Tom's here. I mean, Tom's here talking transfers. I think he wants to be here so much because there's nothing going on in the Liverpool space right now.
We're just all done. It's a bit boring.
But what are you wearing today? Have you been out train spotting or something?
Golden State Warriors.
Lakers jersey.
Or Lakers. Oh,
it's the hat and the top underneath. Get the guns out.
The hat's because the hair's fucked. The hair's are like stakes, so no one's seeing it.
So you're following a new sport now?
I've always followed basketball.
Bit of netball. bit of American netball. And we've got Patrick here, donning the Tottenham shirt tonight. How you doing, Patty boy?
That's it. I'm good. Throwback Spurs jersey. A gal didn't know. Backstage, a gal was asking what this was. It shows a gal's only started watching football in the last 2 or 3 years. So it's all good, gal.
Bro, stand up straight. People would actually see what it is.
It's all good. There you go. All good.
What season's that from?
Back to the glory days.
Throwback, baby. Throwback.
That's not from the 50s.
It's from the 90s.
I weren't even born then. I never seen that shirt in action. Jesus Christ.
What years did you wear that kit?
What year did we? I didn't wear this kit back then.
No, like what years did Tottenham
I think it's 93, 94. I don't know. Something like that.
You were an Arsenal fan back then.
I've never been an Arsenal fan. I'd rather die than be an Arsenal fan. That would never happen.
I do get the tribalism.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to Arsenal and Tottenham a little bit later. Viewers, I've got a little gift for you today. If we hit 1,250 likes while we're live on the air, I will give 20 memberships to the live viewers. I will give 20 memberships free of charge away, but we have to hit 1,250 likes on this show. So make sure that button is being smashed right now. And no better place to start, really, with the breaking news this morning. I hope Ben Jacobs is all right. I hope Dean Jones is all right, because they said this weren't going to happen. They kind of laughed at the idea, really. But Christian Eriksen is accepted the lucrative offer from Manchester United, £150,000 per week to come and play for us, pending, of course, a medical. But they feel that even with his situation, that will still be a formality. There isn't said to be any sort of health concerns or issues outside of the pacemaker. But Christian Eriksen will become a Manchester United player. And I want to go to Patrick first on this. What is your take on this as a deal? Because obviously we know that there was some loose interest earlier on in the window. Reportedly, Spurs walked away from him. But, of course, he's an ex-Spurs player, top class. You know, some people even said world class a few years ago. He joins Man United free of charge. How good a piece of business do you think this is?
It's a great deal for Man United, but I think it's a bad deal for Eriksen. And I'll break that down. It's like, because like obviously Man United are getting a quality midfielder. But I question whether Eriksen will still be in that team in a couple of years. Like, I know it's a 3-year deal, isn't it? And with all the midfielders that Man United get, and I'm sure they're strengthened again, I don't know, man. It's you know, I mean, I wish Eriksen well, but other than that, I don't really give up, you know, without swearing and using profanity on here. I see a lot of Spurs fans on Twitter melting down and going nuts that he's signing for Man United. Who cares? Do you know what I mean? We didn't want him. We weren't interested in signing him. It is what it is, isn't it? Obviously, Man United is a better team than Brentford. It makes a lot of sense him doing that. It's better for his career. Life is short. His career is short. Football career is short as it is. We saw what happened to him last year. You know, luckily, touch wood. You know, thank God, all of that he survived. He left us 2 years ago. We need to move on as a fan base. Too many people, too many Spurs fans are worried about what he's doing. He's not going to play for us. We weren't interested in going back for him, so why does it even matter? But for Man United, it's a great bit of business. He's something that you lot are screaming out for, a creative midfielder. He's at the peak of his powers. He's 30 years old. He's ready-made, built for the Prem. You know what he does. He oozes class, and he can just do what Bruno doesn't do, like pick up the ball, not lose the ball, rotate, create, drop deep, play from deep. And someone in the comments saying that sounds like I care. I honestly don't care. That's the whole point. But I'm happy for the guy. Like, it is what it is. But as a Spurs fan, and a lot of the guys that I know, it is what it is, man. Fuck him, really. That's all it is. All I can say.
I mean, what you're saying, Gal, I mean, obviously, like, he's an ex-Spurs player joining another rival of yours, Man United. Do you think he improves this Man United first team and squad?
I don't know exactly what the plan is for him, Terry. You're going to maybe need to educate me on that, because you're saying this is a great signing. What is he going to be most utilized for? Is he going to be utilized as a rotation piece in the Europa League and to give you squad depth? Because for that, he's perfect. But if you're expecting him to start at this moment in time, I don't know where he starts for you guys, especially with Bruno in the team and your midfield the way it's currently constructed.
Well, I think that the truth of the matter is nobody quite knows how we're setting up next year yet. And I think after maybe 2 or 3 preseason games, there'll be more of an idea. But the thought is 4-3-3. But you all know my take on this. 4-3-3 is a different in and out of possession, and depending on who you're playing. So I think Eriksen will be used partly, like you say, for rotation, giving the likes of Bruno a rest. But I also think he'll be used in a number of Premier League games, whether it be starting to, again, help with rotation, or when we're playing especially when we're playing low block teams. A player like Eriksen in a number of games this season will be better for Man United maybe than someone like a Bruno Fernandes. Will be better than for Man United, even if he starts in a slightly wide midfield attacking position. Could be better than someone like a Rashford, who's great in behind, getting in behind people with his pace. But in terms of those intricate balls to break down low blocks, I think for me, this is someone that does have the ability to impact Man United's first team. But I think first and foremost, he'll start on the bench, and it'll be an opportunity for him to break into the first team. Now, he signed a 3-year deal. The original talks were 1 year with a year extension. The fact it's a 3-year deal tells you that the manager sees him as being integral in terms of trying to create this system that he wants to build over that period of time. So I'm excited about it. And I think the one thing, I praised Arsenal for this a lot recently, the 5-sub rule. Being able to make 5 subs in games gives you so many more options. So having him as an extra option from the bench in particular games as well, I think it's going to be imperative. So yeah, for me, I'm really excited about it. And I kind of get the saltiness because, Patrick, I know you don't care about him anymore. Like you got to stare about you. Do you know what I mean?
Let me just elaborate.
I'm not upset that she left me. I don't miss her anymore. I don't miss her.
Listen, I can't win, innit? I can't win, man. But all jokes aside,
bro,
like
you're so salty.
I'm not salty. I'm not just speaking my mind. I'm just speaking my truth. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, it's a great bit of business for Man United because it adds a lot of quality to their team. But right now in Eriksen's career, considering what happened, I question his motives behind it. Personally, I think he should have stayed at Brentford or gone to a smaller team where he's going to play more minutes. 30 years old, almost dying. You'd think a guy at that point of his career would want to play every single minute. And going to United, you're not going to do that. But I understand it because United are a top team, and obviously it's a big team, so it makes sense.
Terry, I remember when everyone was trying to laugh at United and make jokes. Oh, Eriksen rejected you. I was one of the people like on here saying, he hasn't. No one closes off their options this early in the window. They're going to keep their options open. And the main reason why I think he has chosen to go to United is obviously several reasons. Erik ten Hag being one of them. Another one being you can offer him to play more positions. But I want to know how much is he going to get it paid? Because did he get the most lucrative offer from Manchester United in comparison to other people also? Because that is another factor.
So, yeah, I mean, for me, I've ranged from 150 to 200 I've seen offered. But at the same time, you always pay free transfers more salary than you pay people that you're buying. And there's always a bigger signing on fee. This is normal. So to buy someone of Eriksen's quality, who's in a contract with 2 or 3 years left, you're probably looking at a 35, 40 million pound fee in this market, plus 150,000 pound a week. So if we've ended up paying in 200 grand a week, we saved ourselves 35 million pound in relation to a transfer fee for somebody else. I'm happy with that, because if we missed out on him and he did reject us, we were looking at midfielders in that 30 to 45 million pound range as alternatives. So the money kind of equals itself out. We all know I don't care about net spend as an example, but I get what are you saying, Cole, on this? You think Man United have done good business, or do you feel like, or do you kind of agree with Patrick? Maybe this isn't the best move for the player himself.
No, Patrick's just nursing his broken heart over there. I think it's a great move for United, to be honest with you. Whether he starts or not, or whether he eventually grows into the team and becomes a starter, it's neither here nor there at this point, to be honest with you, because we don't know how Erik ten Hag's going to set up. I think you're right with the whole 5 subs rule as well. And we saw how a lot of players at the end of last season for United were just a disgrace. Erik ten Hag needs to bring in a group of players that he's spoken with, the ones that he's approved to sign in to come in. So if these players let him down again, he also has the players that he has signed off and has spoken with and saying, you're going to be in my team. I'm a little bit surprised it's 3 years, to be honest with you. A little bit surprised it was a 3-year contract. I honestly thought it'd be 2 max, but I think it's great for everyone involved. It's lower risk. I don't really care about wages, to be honest with you. United have always been known for paying premium wages anyway. It's a free transfer. Why not? Why not?
And it makes sense. But you mentioned about his mentality, Colleen. His mentality was very bad the last 6 months. You threw his toys out the pram, didn't want to play. You saw in the All or Nothing documentary him asking Levy what's going on, saying that he wanted to compete and all this rubbish, blah, blah, down tools. He was awful to watch. All Spurs fans will back me on this. It was horrible watching the last 6 months of his time here play out. So that's why when I say I don't care, I honestly don't. And a lot of Spurs fans will say the same. He's billed as this Mr. Nice Guy, but he really isn't. But that's by the by. Good luck to him, man. I'm healed. That's why I can honestly say I don't give a fuck. Like, let him do what he wants to do. Like, he's not a Spurs player. He hasn't been a Spurs player for 2 years. It is what it is.
You are right in terms of like how he's held off, and because we've all seen the All or Nothing. But I think if you're a United fan, I think you've got to believe that, you've got to buy into this new Ten Hag project, if you like, and you've got to trust that, he's sat down with the player, he's seen the player profile, that's both on the mentality wise as well, and trust that he's someone that he wants to trust moving forward. So from a United perspective, I think you've got to, it's almost like a clean slate considering everything that's happened with Eriksen, and just put some trust in Ten Hag and Eriksen.
Terry, just to be a pessimist for a second, do you think this could turn out to be a similar situation to Mata, where he ends up in the later years just sitting on the bench and being like a person around the squad?
I mean, it could do. I think there is no difference right now because we don't know what United are going to do. But Juan Mata would have been the right signing for the right manager. But the reason that Mata dwindled away is because it was Moyes that bought him and he was sacked 3 months later. And then you had 3 new managers after that. And he was never really part of their plans. He played quite a bit in the opening times for LVG. But this is the manager that wants him for his philosophy, for his style of play, which I think is key. And I echo everything that Colleen said. So I'm not going to kind of like re-echo it. And obviously me and Tom spoke about it earlier. That's why I haven't really gone to him, because he spoke on the terrace earlier on today all about that deal. Look, I think it is good business. It's not the only bit of business. And United are looking to bring in at least 5 players this summer. And it's why spending 50, 60 million on De Jong, if that deal indeed gets over the line, when everyone said, but what budget's remaining? I knew we were going to get Eriksen for free, which then equals out that signing. It means Eriksen and De Jong collectively are going to cost us about 27, 28 million pound each if we would spread the cost between the two of them. So it's a good bit of business. The other deal that Man United are looking at, I want to just say before that, by the way, I know a lot of people are assuming that it's Thomas Partey, who is this reported player that has been arrested. There is absolutely zero evidence right now that it's Thomas Partey. A few people DM me saying, am I addressing it on the show like I did Greenwood? No, we have no idea who this player is. So there is no story for fans to talk about, because for football fans to speak of, we don't know who this person is. We have zero idea. So to speculate and put anybody's name to it is atrocious. So please stop, because we're not going to speak about it. We have zero idea who the player is. It's, as far as I've read, it's a Premier League player. We don't even know if it's an Arsenal player, let alone Thomas Partey. So I think people just like hold it down. I know some of you are kids, most of you are not. Like, relax a little bit on that, please, and stop. Listen, Thomas Partey, I don't know him personally, but to put his name to something like that, come on now, like that's an absolute madness. But Manchester United are also, again, I'm going to read this out that was sent to me earlier. I'm about to tweet it. It stated that there is a belief that Lisandro Martinez will agree to join Manchester United this week. That's the understanding that's now being kind of put out there and discussed and spoken
Let's
about.
go. Come on. Well done, Terry.
Why are you so excited about that?
As long as Arsenal don't get him, I'm happy, man. So yeah, good news. Good
State of
news.
it, the absolute state
If
of it.
Arsenal don't get all their key contacts or top contact, contacts? Well, I'm saying contacts, players that they wanted, then yeah, it's good news, man. Even though I've never really seen a guy play like that, I know that Arsenal were really after him. So yeah, it's good news, man. Well done, United.
Listen, it could be an excellent piece of business. How do you feel about it, Colleen? Because this was a top priority for Arsenal, a player that you haven't pulled out of. You're still trying. You are still fighting for him. There is still a chance Arsenal land him. What's your take on this now? Do you feel like maybe Arsenal should walk away? Do you feel like Man United have got this in the bag? What's your take on it?
Well, until he's signed for United, Arsenal can push for him for as long as they seem is reasonable. And for me, to be honest with you, I'm just glad that he's one of the names that's being talked about because it's an area that we need to address. For me personally, if we don't get him, the world's not ending, because at least that says to me, okay, the club have recognized this issue that the fans have been talking about for a long while now, and they're trying to address it. Now, it's if they don't land their top target, if it is being Martinez, and then be like, do you know what? We can't see anyone else that we'd rather have in, like similar to what we kind of did in January. If that's the kind of mentality they take, then it's going to be worrying. Outside of that, I mean, we all know that football clubs have a list long of players for each position in these kind of situations. So considering our summer last summer and how good our transfers were for us as a team, I'm trusting them to, if that is our top target, we don't get him, I'm willing to trust see who's next. I'm not going to freak out and lose the plot over it, to be honest with you.
I get that. I mean, what's intriguing, Gal, is when you read David Ornstein's and the Athletics report on this, they've said United are leading. But it was Arsenal were trying to tell him to be, they want him as a left back, and Man United want him as a centre back. Do you think that's key in his decision making?
I think relationships are the key part in this whole thing, Terry. I don't think it's about position. It might be about game time also. If you're able to offer him more game time in his preferred position, yes, that could also be a factor. But I think the key factor is relationships, and the fact that you have Ten Hag, who's his former manager, moving to Manchester United and wants his own player back. That is a key part. And also another part that's not being spoken about, the director of football or whatever his role is, Edward van der Sar at Ajax. So I think no matter what it was, as if Arsenal and Manchester United both had the same offers on the table, I think he was always going to go to Manchester United over Arsenal. Even if we were able to offer him similar money, similar positions, I think the relationship factor is what drives him to United.
What about yourself, Tom? I mean, is this... I mean, we know he's a talented player, like he's a progressive centre back. It looks like he's going to end up at Manchester United. That could theoretically be 3 deals in the space of a week. Man United are really starting to pick up the pace now in terms of the beginning of this rebuild.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I said it earlier on. He's making smart transfers. He's being smart in this transfer window, which is unusual for Manchester United. You're trusting your manager. These are all Erik Ten Hag signings. This was the big thing if you wanted this Ten Hag rebuild to work, and you didn't want to stay stuck in that cycle of constantly cycling through managers. You need to let the manager buy the players because he's the one that's got to use them. If it doesn't work out, you can put all the blame on him. You're not pointing fingers at the director of football or the finance fellow who doesn't really understand football but wants to do the transfers. It's all on the manager. He clearly wants Martinez. I mean, I've got to be honest, it's a really good signing for Manchester United. I'd be a bit concerned at the minute if I was an Arsenal fan because Martinez was someone who you were in for and you've now missed out on. Who else was there? There was Yves Bissouma, who the groundwork had been in for. You've done that groundwork for ages. You've now lost out on him. Aaron Hickey's another one going to Brentford. I mean, come on, it's Brentford. If he's one of left back, you're Arsenal. So I've got to be honest. If I was Arsenal, I'd be getting this Tielemans deal over the line soon, like really quickly, because you just need something.
Let me ask you this: Liverpool were in for Fabio Vieira. Is a big blow for you? You've moved on. People move on. People move on.
For Fabio Vieira.
Yes, you were. Not this window. Prior windows, you were in for that player. So if you want to go.
Wow, that's a stretch. Come on, prior windows. You know,
we're
talking about the summer transfer. That's a massive stretch.
My point still stands. My point still stands. If a club moves on for a player and he ends up going to another move, that's not really missing out. That's just you moving on from that target. Realistically,
we're talking this transfer window right now.
Arsenal moved on from Bissouma. We weren't as interested as people are seeming. We
Mhm.
never really made a bid, and we might have inquired on the player, but we never actually signed him. So there you go.
Right.
When it comes to Aaron Hickey, the bid, the availability was there. We could have got him if we wanted to. We moved on from him, and now, yes, we could miss out on Martinez, but I don't think it's as big as a blow as everyone's making it seem right now. Yes, it will be a blow because it's not your first. You're not going to be going for your first choice, but this is where you have to prepare and have your second or third choice available. Right now,
You've missed out on your second choice as well.
Yeah.
If Lisandro Martinez was being brought in to play left back, then Aaron Hickey and Lisandro Martinez were your first and second choice. It's a bad window, in my opinion, if you miss out on your first and second choice target. It's a bad window. You should be able, as Arsenal, to bring in one of your first and second choice target. You've done it with Jesus. You've done it with Fabio Vieira. You've got all the groundwork done for Tielemans. I don't know why you haven't got that Tielemans deal over the line. You should be getting that over the line. But you've missed out on a left back. And it's clearly an important position.
Listen, I'm not arguing with the point where you're saying bring in your transfers in quicker. I'm just arguing the point where you're saying we're missing out on all these targets and it's utter chaos. It's not that big of a deal. Clubs miss out on players on a regular basis and they distance themselves from those transfers. It's just the fact that Arsenal was still working on those deals and not distancing themselves and trying to move on quicker. They still were fighting to try to get those deals done. Just shows you that they have a direct strategy this window. And if they don't get their first option, then they're going to end up going for the second option. They're not just going to give up easily.
Who's left though? Who is Arsenal's left back? Because you clearly cannot rely on Kieran Tierney.
Our left back is still Kieran Tierney.
But he's injury prone.
I get that. That's why
they've still got Tavares. Don't forget that.
Don't bring up Tavares here. Come on.
I'm not saying he's quality, but at least he's still there.
Tavares is going to go on loan. But my main point is not all doom and gloom like everyone's making it seem like. The window's not even close to being finished. Arsenal have already made four signings already. We've been identifying players, putting in bids early in the window. This is a lot earlier than we do our business. People are making it seem like it's only a couple of days left in the window.
No one's saying it's doom and gloom, but it's just.
There's no level of worry in this moment in time for me.
I'm not saying the worry is it's chaos. It's just that it's the fact that, and it's not that it's early on in the window and you should be panicking. It's the fact that you clearly had a number one and a number two target, and you've missed out on both of them. Chelsea had a number one target in Raheem Sterling. He looks like he's going to go there. We had a number one target in Darwin Núñez. We've got him. City had a number one target in Phillips. They got him. Tottenham have had however many number one targets. Perisic, Basuma, Richarlison. They got them. So what is the issue with Arsenal not being able to bring in their number one target or their number two target? Why has everyone else got that pull, but Arsenal haven't?
There's other factors, bro. Let me give you. You're just bringing it down to pull. First of all, Rafinha wanted to go to Barcelona. He didn't want to go to Chelsea in the first place if Barcelona were available. So that is a dream move. The Martinez thing, I've already broken it down numerous times. It's about relationships and the fact that Manchester United currently have his former manager. It will be easier transition into Manchester United and the relationships that they have with the board of directors at Ajax. If you want to talk about the Hickey deal, clearly Arsenal moved away from the Hickey deal, or else he wouldn't be going to Brentford. If a player had a choice to go to Brentford or Arsenal, he's going to go to Arsenal. It's just obviously maybe one of two factors. One, the club moved away from it, or two, he was guaranteed a starting job at Brentford, which at Arsenal he's not, and maybe he just wanted to start. So what else do you want to talk about? Because
what's the plan then?
There's reasonable reasons for every single thing, but you want to just bring it down to pull. That's not logical.
I can't question it though.
I think, do you know what I would say about Arsenal's window is this? I want to throw this out to a few more people. I don't think I get the pool debate and everything else. The issue that you get, though, if you go beyond your first, maybe second target, are you Arsenal fans happy if you start going on to your third or fourth choice? Or would you rather focus on a different position and a primary target there?
Kind of goes back to what I mentioned before, Tel, that, I don't want us to, because we need a backup left back or someone who's going to be there, because Tierney plays 60% of the time across the season, right? So that has to be a primary area for us. So I get where Tom's saying, because for that position, I don't want us to be going to our third, fourth, fifth choice. I get that completely. I think in this position particularly, I wouldn't want to move on elsewhere until that's sorted. I'm not saying you can't work on other deals at the same time, but for me, that is a priority. So I do see what Tom is saying, because we can't rely on Tavares. Like, that is not happening next. That is not happening next season. He needs a loan or something. He cannot. it can't be a thing in the Premier League for what we're trying to achieve. But I'm still not gonna panic. There's still time. I'm letting Arsenal surprise me. I'm just happy that they're doing things a bit earlier, because notoriously Arsenal is so bad in a transfer window. They leave things last minute, don't know how to negotiate. And maybe I'm just happy because it's not as bad as what it normally is. That doesn't necessarily mean it's still good. But
what are you saying, Roy, as a rival, looking at what Arsenal are doing? I mean, I know you guys haven't secured anybody yourself right now. We're going to move.
Don't get me started on that, Terry.
We're going to get onto Chelsea a bit later. But when you look at what Arsenal were doing, like, Arsenal fans are staying really calm. They're happy with what they're doing so far. Do you think they're right to, or do you think they're sort of lying to themselves? Like, what's your take as a rival looking at the Arsenal fan base right now?
If I were an Arsenal fan, I'd be pretty content with what we've done so far. Like, we've got a few signings in. It's pretty evident that we're looking to do more business. So obviously missing out on targets is never ideal. So I get the frustration. But I feel like in the social media era, once we hear that another club's done a piece of business, everyone's like, oh, why isn't my club doing anything? Why isn't my club doing anything? But realistically, the window shuts on August 31st. So we've still got just under 2 months. So I know everyone wants to get their business done before pre-season, but a lot of the time, like, that doesn't really happen. So as long as you get it in, like, before the season starts, or at least before the worst comes to worst, before the window closes, I don't think it's that much to have a meltdown over. Like, Arsenal have done good business so far. Yeah, they've missed out on a few targets, whether that's they're poor or not having Champions League or whatever it is. Like, they missed out on a few targets, but at the end of the day, there's still plenty of players out there. And I'd rather get a player who stylistically, like, fits us and wants to be here than someone who, like, they didn't really want to be there, but they're there anyway because you managed to do enough to get them. Do you get what I mean? So, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be pretty content / happy with what we've done so far. I know that, okay, like, there are more players coming in, so plenty of time. There's more players coming in, so I wouldn't really be that annoyed if I was an Arsenal fan.
I hear you. I think that's really sensible, and I like how they haven't walked away from this Lisandro Martinez deal and they've actually stayed in to try and fight for him. They're not worried about they kind of did it with Vlahovic in a different way in January. It's like, well, yeah, we might take a bit of heat from rivals and people might get annoyed if we don't land it, but I'm sick and tired of seeing football clubs know they're going to lose and then pull away and then release release a statement saying, oh, we were never really looking at the player or far too expensive for us. I'm just like, just take the L that they said to you, bruv, and kind of move on. When you're looking at Arsenal, though, Patrick, from a Spurs fan point of view, are you sort of looking at it so far like, I don't feel like they're a threat to us next year? Or do you sort of agree with like Roy? Do you feel like they're cooking something and will land some stars that will elevate them to a higher level next year?
If I take my Tottenham hat off, I know it's not a Tottenham hat today, but if I take my Tottenham hat off and just be 100% impartial and unbiased, Arsenal have done good business. Bringing in Jesus, they were screaming out for a striker, someone that can get them 15 to 20 goals. Gabriel Jesus is Premier League proven. He's won countless trophies at Man City, knows the league inside out, and has worked with Arteta before. So you can't really go wrong with that. Yes, there's questions to be seen if he can get 15 or 20 goals because he's never done it, but he's got everything there for him to do it. So if he does get that, then that's a brilliant signing. So that's a good piece of business. Vieira, I'm honest to God, don't know anything about him, so I can't really talk on that one. Who else have they brought in so far? That's pretty much it, isn't it, so far? But yeah, Gabriel Jesus is a brilliant signing, man. Obviously there's always going to be that rivalry and banter between Tottenham and Arsenal. We've got Richarlison, they got Jesus. It's a bit more intense, obviously, because they're both Brazilian and who starts for Brazil over who and all of that. But yeah, you can't go wrong with that signing, to be fair. If you're looking at world footballers coming into Arsenal, Jesus ticks a lot of boxes. He's good on the ball. He's good in and around the box. He's a good passer with the ball. Obviously, his finishing, I still don't know. I'm a bit 50-50 on it. I've seen him score some good goals. I've seen him miss some howlers. So we'll see. But he's never been the man, like the main man starting week in and week out. So as long as he adjusts to that and hits the ground running, then it's a great signing for Arsenal. So, I'm as intrigued as anyone else to see what they do. Still got a long time of the window left. All of the top teams will still go out and try and get more players in. But so far, like Roy saying, you can't really argue what they've done so far, man. And I wouldn't, if I was an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't be panicking as it stands.
I hear you on that. Let's go to some of these super chats. By the way, we put a tweet out earlier asking people for their hot takes of this season, and we'll run that by some of you later on in the show. Super chat here says, breaking news, shocking. Gabriel Jesus decides to retire from the Champions League football at the prime age of 25. That old chestnut. Arsenal keeps a low profile in most of their transfers. Tomiyasu last summer, Fabio Vieira this year. There's going to be a target in case they miss out on Lisandro. My bet is Ronaldo. Most identical profile is what has been said there, kind of echoing what the Arsenal fans say. Bob Marley says that Lisandro would be back up at Arsenal. He starts at United. It's a fair point. I mean, listen, I think he's better than every centre-back at Arsenal, though, already. Yeah, I think he is. By the way, I say this, and I've said this on other shows. I don't believe he's coming in primarily to be a backup left back. I think he's coming in to be a main centre back. It's just being sold as a left back right now before Arsenal land him, because if they say it's to replace one of our to be a main centre back, and you're saying he's a priority, it sends a negative message to some of your other players. I think he'd play centre back predominantly. This is a guy who's barely played at left back in his whole career. This is the irony in it. When you research his career, vast majority of the games as centre back. He's covered a few games in DM. He's barely played at left back. Barely plays there. Like, he's not really played there at all. And in the last 18 months, Ten Hag, his sole focus under Ten Hag was being developed into a centre back. No one's been scouting him. No one's watched him play as a left back for 18 months. So I don't get why everyone's suddenly saying he's a left back. It just, when you read something, like, it doesn't really compute. There's something, when you leave your house, you think you left the oven on or the iron on or a window undone. There's a little niggle at the back of your mind. That's when I hear Arsenal want him as a left back. I'm like, how have you scouted him as a left back when he's barely played there in the last couple of years? Doesn't make sense. But that's just my take. Igal shaking my head is what Brio says. Jesus was Arsenal's number one target. That Liverpool guy is a little bit. You're clueless, Tom.
He did say apart from Jesus, though. He did say.
I never said Jesus weren't. I said your left back situation. You couldn't get your number one or number two target.
Chike here says, "Happy 4th of July." As everyone, for everyone, I think he means the United States is a country. As a country, is 266 years old. As we gained our independence from Britain. Had anyone else born on the 4th of July with Tom Cruise or Independence Day with Will Smith? If anyone else's birthday is today, happy birthday to you. 226 years old as a country. Honestly, that's literally like, I heard Joe Rogan say this as a joke once. He said, America is basically 3 people old. As in the country that it is now, like, it's 3 people old. That country, that's mad. Tom, just because you support a winning team doesn't mean you know transfer dealings. Calm down and put your pants back on.
Okay,
Panties back
right.
on. Tom,
Right.
Tom,
The thing is, we were in the exact same situation Arsenal was in about 6 years ago. So I do know, because we've been in this situation, and what got us out was either getting our number one targets or waiting and not settling for a number 3 target and getting our number 1 target next window. Exactly what we've done with Mane and Salah, and then on the waiting front, exactly what we've done with Van Dijk and Alisson. It's what you've got to do to get to these levels. If you settle for worse, you run the risk of going into a cycle where you keep buying and selling these average players over and over again until you hit gold. If you just wait, you save yourselves a bit of money and a whole lot of pain. Might as well just wait.
There we go. Igal, speak about the midfield, please, my brother.
We need midfielders. In my opinion, it would be, I don't know if a lot of people trust El Neni and Lokonga at this moment in time. So I get why we're linked to a 6. I think we need a 6 and an 8 this summer if we're going to really be strengthening to the.
What 6 were you linked to, Igal?
Some guy from Lille, midfielder, young guy, 22 years old, named.
Some guy from Lille.
One second. I'm literally trying to buy myself time as I remember his name. Abdul Onana.
Amadou Diallo.
Oh.
Is that 6'5" guy?
Yeah, he's tall.
Yeah, I've heard about him. Yeah, 6'5". Yeah, I was reading about that.
They're saying he's a really good destroyer, and I'm not sure about his passing range and how he would do on the technical side. But he does look like he's really good on the defensive end of the pitch. So I don't know.
Are you not going to get Tillemans there now? He's a midfielder.
Bro,
He's not
nobody
6
knows.
though, is he?
Nobody knows what their club's going to do fully until it's done. But at this moment in time, Arsenal have that Telemans deal. They've been working on it for so long that I wouldn't be surprised if they just went back to it and it was sorted quickly.
Cool.
There we go. TK back again. It says also Arsenal cannot get #1 targets because Arsenal absolutely effing suck. And who wants to play for Mikel Arteta, someone that has never been capped by his own damn country? You understand. TK is a City fan, I will add there. He's not really a rival of Arsenal, but there we go. Viewers, make sure you remember, if we get 1,250 likes on this show, I will gift 20 memberships out to our viewers. You will get squad membership status on the terrace. We've got some big new content being launched for our members very soon. So if you want it, smash the like button. James Mullins says Salah wasn't the #1 target. Klopp didn't want him.
If Klopp didn't want him, he wouldn't be here.
I thought Klopp wanted Götze and Brandt, and then he got Salah and Mane instead. Wasn't that how it worked? Or
so Klopp wanted Götze and Brandt, but the transfer, whoever Michael Edwards in his magic laptop said no, we're going for Mane and Salah instead. They don't fit. These do. So we never actually entered negotiations or even tried for the other two.
So it's not Klopp magic then. It was Michael Edwards magic. With the council.
maybe it's talent
Michael Edwards brought them in.
Wait.
Wow.
So you scouted those guys. You were linked to those guys, but you never actually bid for them. So did you miss out on them then?
No.
That's a good question.
So then why were you saying Arsenal missed out on all these players when clearly some of the players you mentioned we never actually bid for?
Well, not to defend Tom, but they didn't go for those players because they were told, Klopp was told no. They didn't actually.
We just didn't go for them.
If you don't bid for a player, how can you miss out on him, Miguel? That doesn't make no sense what you just said.
So
hold on. How can we miss out on a player who didn't move anywhere? He didn't reject us to stay.
Okay,
we can't miss out on someone who didn't move.
Your earlier point is redundant.
But Martinez, you bidded for him. Hickey, you're interested in bidding
directly. So I'm speaking about Hickey.
Did you bid for Hickey in the end?
No. Arsenal didn't progress that
hold
beyond.
my hands up on Hickey.
I don't think beyond May they did. Now we are talking a bit of Chelsea. Chelsea have been in the news a lot recently, and Chelsea stuff is crazy. We've got some super chats here. You know, why are we messing around with the De Ligt transfer? And there's been some other ones that have come in, but the big one, the big one today, which we have to delve into 37 minutes into the show. It's reported that Ronaldo to Chelsea is on. He's been offered to the club. And listen, this is David Ornstein's words here, and I'll quote him verbatim. Chelsea are exploring. They're exploring the option of Cristiano Ronaldo coming in. And Ornstein has been on fire this year. He very rarely even mentions things unless he believes there's a possibility of it happening. Nazir Kinsella has spoken about the option that Chelsea have got to pursue it. What are you saying, Roy, me boy? Ronaldo in? You happy with that?
This is going to be unpopular, but me personally, so just my opinion, I don't think we should go for him. I see all the pros, like, trust me. I know the goals he brings. I know the leadership. I even know the shirt sales, the money. Just having Ronaldo at the club would just be fantastic. He will bring up the level and the mentality and the work rate of everyone around him. So he brings a lot of pros, but I feel like in this current era of football, and if you're trying to compete with Pep and Klopp, who right now are the benchmark, I don't think bringing in these superstar names who stylistically and profile-wise might not be a good fit is a good idea. And I personally rather would go for someone who's like maybe less of a name, but would fit the system like a glove than a Ronaldo who we'd have to cater a lot more for, even though if you do build around him, he will score goals because that United team instructed last year was horrible. Yet he still scored 18 goals. So imagine if it was actually a good team that he was in. So I see all the pros and cons, but I personally would stay away. I think we've done too many deals like this before where we've seen a big name who doesn't really fit us that well and we've gone for him and it's backfired. So I think if we really do want to compete the right way and sustainably compete as well with Pep and Klopp at the top, I personally think this isn't the transfer we should go for. But if we do get him, like I'll be in the Matthew Harding lower stand. I'll be doing "Soo" when he scores. I'll be his biggest fan, trust me. But like, yeah, before it happens, I don't want it. But if it does, then it's impossible not to be happy if Ronaldo signs for your club.
Someone else speak, please. Come on. You guys are so flat tonight. It's unbelievable.
And how do you feel that Ronaldo potentially could be going to Chelsea? Let's be real.
Yeah, come on, Terry. Yeah,
a little bit.
Losing your best ever player to Chelsea.
Into a positive for United. We know.
Oh, he's not our, but he's one of our best. We had
No,
George
Terry,
Best.
he's your best ever player. Come on.
He's not, don't disrespect George Best and Dennis Law and these
Oh,
guys.
okay.
There's a debate to Duncan Edwards. Let me just. Ronaldo's brilliant, but Man United. You got to remember, we're not 20 years old like Chelsea. We've had players for 100 years that have been at this level. But you celebrating a goal and going, "Sue, that'll hurt me." As a Man United fan, watching Ronaldo play for another Premier League club will hurt me. I'm not going to sit here and lie. However, it's 1 year you're going to have him for, tops. So it's not really going to damage anybody in the Premier League long term. You're not buying him from us when he's 24. You know, if you were taking Bruno Fernandes away from us, if you were taking Varane, who else do I rate and think is going to bounce back? If you were taking Jadon Sancho away from us this summer, I'd be fuming, I'd be angry, I'd be worried. It's a year or so tops that I think you'll get the best out of Ronaldo. And as much as it will hurt in the short term, as long as we reinvest that 26 million we saved this year from his salary and we buy someone who's got longevity in them, who's good, it won't bother me that much. Do you understand where I'm coming from? But see,
the striker market's quite bad, Terry.
Yeah, but I don't understand if
bad this year.
I get that. Before this news of Ronaldo, there was a lot of thought. So once we didn't get Darwin Núñez, the word was that United were going to move for more inside forwards and attackers, players like the Antonys, and Eriksen has opted for a bit more of a fluid front three. Maybe a little bit like what Liverpool are now are going to be moving away from, as an example. But that's kind of what he's looking to do. I don't think we'll spend the money on another number 9. I think we'd spend the money on a different type of forward, if that makes sense. But I'm honestly in two minds about it. There's a part of me as a United fan that's like, oh, it's going to hurt seeing him wearing the blue shirt at Chelsea. But then when I think about it through and through, as long as we reinvest the money and we buy someone else, and we went and landed Antony, and he is what we think he's going to hope he's going to be, over the medium to long term, it isn't going to bother me because we're not going to get 4, 5, 6, 7 years out of Ronaldo now. So I'm honestly in two minds about it, if that makes sense. You know, as long as it isn't City or Liverpool that he goes to, I think I can just about stomach it. Just about.
If Antony comes in and you have the same attack that you currently have constructed, are you okay with that? Because I think that would be terrible. You'd be the worst out of the original top 6.
But okay with it in what regard? Forever?
No, like for this season. I think that's not enough goals in that team.
But for this season, yes, because none of you are predicting we're going to make it into the top 4 anyway. So
I think they've got goals in that team, Miguel. Antony, Sancho, Martial, Bruno, Eriksen, Ronaldo. There's goals there.
Rashford as well. Rashford will definitely bounce
I think
back.
it's just
There's no way
and
Rashford will be as bad as he was.
My point is, and I know what you're doing. I'll go back to your point of question. No one's predicting, no matter who we sign, keep Ronaldo, not keep Ronaldo. Everyone's saying we're missing out on top 4 anyway. So why does it matter?
No, I'm asking you, do you have enough in that team for
no?
For
if we keep Ronaldo or sell Ronaldo, we're not going to have enough to. Most people don't think we're going to have enough to make the top 4 anyway, because we're at the beginning of a rebuild.
I'm not speaking to most people, Terry. I'm speaking to you.
Again, but that's my answer. My answer is very much like I say.
The question now.
I am answering the question. But for next season, it's enough. Forever, it isn't. And for 1 year, if we lose a player like that and we don't have a number 1 replacement ready for him, I'm willing to wait. Yes, we might lack something next year, but we were always going to lack something next year because we weren't going to be fixed in one summer. It's like you put in a funny face, Gal. What's wrong with the answer?
No, I'm looking at it from this perspective. You're going to have either a front 3 of Antony, Sancho, or one of Martial or Rashford in the striker position. Am I wrong? So that's going to be your front. That's going to be like your best strength front 3, in comparison to some of the other front 3s in the league. It's just.
Don't include us in that.
I get your point, bro. But again,
our front 3 is not in this discussion.
I hear that, Roy. But back to a Gal. I understand what you're saying, and you could rank it bottom of the 6, and I'd be completely fine with that. But we were not fixing all the problems in our squad in 1 year. At the end of this window, no matter what we do, there's going to be holes still. But I get where you're coming from. Oh God, you still got that hole. Of course, it's year 1 of the rebuild. When after Arteta's first summer, were you completely happy with every element of your squad?
No, but this is different. Team, this is different because your team was in a much more competitive state than we were. You guys
So
were
we're
in
not-
a situation. You guys were in a situation where you had one of the best players to ever play the game in Ronaldo in your team. You also had a team that was constructed with a lot more investment, and you were already competing at what, second in the league, even with Oli. And everyone says yes, it's a false position, whatever. But at the same time, you were in that position, and you had a team that people might have assumed could have challenged. So I'm not saying this is a fall from grace or anything. I'm just saying, as if I was a Man United fan and I'm looking at my front three and my attack, I would want more than just Anthony. That's the reality.
And I understand that. So I'm playing devil's advocate here. So let's go back to it. So we're really not as bad a squad as everybody's making us out to be. Then, based on in your eyes, we're a good squad that should be able to compete for the top 4 in trophies as long as we've got a goal scorer.
No, that's not what I said.
So
I said your team.
So let's go back. Stop. So let's go back. So if having Ronaldo as a goal scorer doesn't make us any better, why would I be scared and worried? Like, your logic is flawed. You either think we're a good enough team that with a goal scorer like Ronaldo can compete and be really good this year, but if it doesn't matter if we've got Ronaldo and we're still going to fail, why does it matter if he stays or goes?
If he goes, you need more than just Anthony to come in the striking position.
Yes, I know. So he goes.
So
if we bring in more than Anthony or keep Ronaldo, you think we can compete next year?
I still think you're gonna struggle to get into the top 4.
So I'll echo your point. I agree with you. I still think we're going to improve, but struggle to make the top 4. So in the short term, why panic and throw your toys out about a certain area of the team not being ready yet, rather than rushing and buying the wrong player, as we've done for 9 to 10 years, and then ended up in a situation where we have a player that we pay £60 million for, who we now can't sell, who's on big money that doesn't fit what the manager wants. There's no need for Man United as a club to panic, because as you've just said, and you've admitted to it, whether we have Ronaldo or not, or a replacement or not, we're still going to struggle. So
no, but this is similar to the Aubameyang situation. We let Aubameyang go, but we needed to bring in a replacement. You guys are letting Ronaldo go, but Anthony coming in is not a Ronaldo replacement.
If he goes, Ronaldo might not go though. Ronaldo might not go.
Yeah, he could very easily stay.
Ronaldo might not go either. But my main point is, if Ronaldo's going, you still need to bring in another attacker.
I agree. I agree.
Everything else you say is redundant after that.
No, it isn't. I agree we need to bring somebody else in. But your overarching point around needing to bring another replacement in, and maybe it is just Anthony. I want Anthony regardless. It's about not panicking, because you're sort of talking with the smug smile on your face. You were like, it's going to be like the worst front 3 in the top 6. It could be if Ronaldo leaves, but you don't even think we're going to compete anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like, your point doesn't hold any water. If it isn't going to damage our season, irrespective, why would I panic? And I'm only talking to you and your logic. Why would I panic if whether with or without Ronaldo, we're going to end up in the same place? What's the point of worrying?
Because you, at the end of the day, you want an improvement from last season.
Of course I do. I think we'll improve if Ronaldo stays or Ronaldo goes, with Ten Hag managing us, and the 5 to 6 players we're linked with that I think will sign, we will be a vastly superior team compared to what we were last year, with or without Ronaldo. It doesn't make or break our season whether he stays or goes, and it doesn't make or break the rebuild because he goes at the end of next season anyway. It's really not as big a deal. What hurts the most is we'll be watching a legend of my club and a player that I have an affinity for play for a rival. I'll never deny that hurts. But then when I think about my club, there's no time to panic, Igal, you know. And as you've said, we're not making the top 4 anyway. So with or without Ronaldo, it doesn't matter. Your own point falls down.
I'm not even saying panic. I'm just saying there has to be a large level of caution from all fans.
Right.
Losing Ronaldo and not bringing in enough replacements, because at the end of the day, your front 3 has been underperforming. You don't have enough goals in Rashford, Martial over the last couple of years, and they've been underperforming. A lot of people want them out. Sancho, still, I'm going to give him time. He has another season. He can definitely bounce back. Anthony comes in. I still have reservations over him. So your whole attack has gone down a level. Yes, you might improve your midfield, you might improve your defense and everything else, and that could improve your team overall. But I feel like your attack has gotten so much more significantly worse. And that's just my main point around it.
And I totally understand that. But I think what you're missing, and you're sort of not listening to Man United fans, is although you're right, we went backwards last year, that's because every single one of our attackers, barring Ronaldo, had an awful season. And if all the other areas of our team improve, like you've just suggested it would, we create more, we control the ball better, we dominate the territories more, we create more opportunities. The players we had the players that are still going to be here remaining scored more goals than the Man United team that had Ronaldo last year, 2 seasons back. So there are goals in this team, as the boys have already alluded to. And like I've said, we will buy a replacement. But Ten Hag is being very surgical and specific in his approach. He's only buying players that he thinks is going to improve his team. We're not going to, I pray we don't panic and go and get man like Uncle Iggy on loan again. We don't need to do anything like that. You just bide your time. We are year 1 of our rebuild. And the point is, when you were year 1 of your rebuild, when Liverpool were year 1 of their rebuild, nobody expected Jurgen Klopp's squad. Nobody expected Mikel Arteta's team to be perfect front to back across the whole board. What you're trying to do is clever, and I get it from rivals. It's almost, let's put pressure on Man United fans to be annoyed that their squad isn't perfect after one window. That's
You
just
agreed with me, though.
No, I didn't agree about the squad. I agree that we need to bring in a replacement for Cristiano Ronaldo. And if we let him go and nothing comes in, I'll be frustrated. But I'm not worried about Ronaldo not being there.
Okay. All right. So you're not worried that Ronaldo's leaving. So is it a good thing Ronaldo's leaving then?
It's not the worst thing in the world. He's got 1 year left on his contract. We're starting the beginning of a new rebuild. No one thinks we're going to make the top 4. Ronaldo leaving doesn't make that any worse or different, because with him, you still think we're going to fail. So I don't understand why I would be annoyed. It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So
What United are doing with the Ronaldo situation is what they should be doing the whole time. They're being smart. They're not panicking. Let's say Ronaldo was to go this window and they stick to what they're doing, which is bring in Anthony and wait for a striker because the one that they want, Darwin Núñez, isn't available. That's what they should be doing. They shouldn't be panicking and bringing in some 4th, 5th choice striker who doesn't hit the ground run, doesn't suit the system, and then give it 12 months. They're in the exact same situation, but 30, 40 million pounds worse off. They might as well just wait with this squad. And as much as people sit here with it and go, yeah, the attack went great last season, who knows if this is a redemption season for certain players, whether Rashford with a full pre-season and playing consistent minutes at number 9 refines his form, or if this is a breakout year for Sancho, or Martial refines himself. That's something you've got to take into consideration if they let Ronaldo go.
I think for one season, I think this manager's got the ability to get the goals he needs out of the Martials, the Rashfords, Bruno, Sancho as an example, as you mentioned, and sort of the midfielders that come in. I think we'll have enough. I'm not convinced, even with all our signings, that we're going to make top 4 right now. So what I don't want is a panic. What I don't want is us to overreact. Of course, I'd love a replacement for Ronaldo. I'd love us to go, right, Ronaldo's leaving and we spend that money. We won't, this is hypothetical, and we land Gnabry. Would I love that? Yeah, of course I would, because that's a massive improvement. But if we haven't fixed all the holes in our team in the first summer, but we've done good business, I'm happy. You know, we're not adding to Ollie's squad. We're starting again for a brand new style of play. And that can't be ignored. It would be stupid to ignore it. It really, really would, you know, and I'm not going to do it. So, hang on a second. Some news here. We were actually talking Chelsea. About. Do you guys think it's a good sign for Chelsea? How do you think you do at Chelsea, Colleen?
Do you know what? I'm a bit more optimistic than Roy is, to be honest with you. I think that would be a major kind of like statement piece, having Ronaldo in your team, even if it's just for a year. I just think we can't underplay how big of a character, how big of an impact Ronaldo can have. Now, I mean, there's a lot going on at Chelsea, to be honest with you. I think as well, then bringing in Sterling would be a great fit as well. You'd have Havertz, Sterling, and Ronaldo potentially as a front three. If that was the case, how would you feel about it, Roy?
I think in terms of how they fit with each other, it's not quite ideal, but I do think Tuchel could accommodate that. So I'm not going to say, oh, it's terrible. As in, on paper, it doesn't fit like quite ideally, but there's definitely potential in that front three, as in like Sterling to direct, to dribble, he runs in behind. Ronaldo grabs goals. Havertz has got great movement. He's good in the air. He'll get his chunk of goals as well. So it could definitely cook. But yeah, then on paper, it doesn't really fit that ideally.
But I guess
if we got Ronaldo, Sterling, and another winger, like obviously I know we're not going to get him like Dembele or Rafinha or someone like that, Sterling and Ronaldo, then I'd be like, you know what, that's cash money. We can cook with that. But yeah, Havertz, Ronaldo, Sterling doesn't quite fit right.
I guess at least the names and the kind of people that Todd's been talking to must be a positive, though, as a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, definitely. I think
what we're hearing, it's like with a new ownership, no one really knew what direction you could potentially go in. I think it can only really be a positive in terms of your Sterlings, your potential Neymars, your Ronaldos.
Neymar is one that I know that with Ronaldo, I did see like a sort of like cons to it because of like his age and his like inability to like press consistently. But I feel like Neymar would be a much better deal because one, he's a lot younger. Two, in terms of profile, we need a top creator. We don't have a consistent creator on our side, and that's exactly what Neymar is, alongside being a good goal scorer as well.
600 grand a week they're talking about.
Yeah, then it would blow apart the wage structure.
Wow.
Like, you'd be on at least double the next person.
I've heard Chelsea fans today. I've heard Chelsea fans say things like, "Oh, it would like upset the apple cart." But then I sort of look at it and think, no one, barring Kante, but he's a different type of player and he's a very humble guy. There's no one else in that Chelsea squad that is on the same planet as a Neymar.
Exactly. That's why I don't get the argument.
So it's not good. They're not all going to sit there and go, "I want the same as Neymar," because Chelsea just say, "Well, show me how you've achieved and you're as good. How you've got the following and commerciality of a Neymar, and then we'll match the money." Like, no one can walk in there and do that. There's literally probably 5 players in the world that can demand Neymar money. Messi and Ronaldo are 2 of them. Mbappe's probably another. Haaland potentially could be. Like, no one in that Chelsea squad can talk to a Neymar. The biggest question. Go on, Cole.
No, I was just going to say, I think like another piece of the kind of equation here is, how do you think Tuchel would be with a Neymar, that kind of personality in his squad?
Tuchel loves him. Tuchel loves him. He did say, okay, I think there was like a statement someone saying he's a bit difficult to manage because like he's a flamboyant character. He can be a bit of a diva. But in terms of the on-the-pitch relationship and how Neymar was probably at his best under Tuchel. Like, his numbers under him are just off the scale. He's got like 50 goals, 30 assists or something like that in around 67 games, I think, which is a phenomenal return. You can add Ligue 1 tax, I hear it, but even without that, that's still a great return. So I think in this league, I think, yeah, it is more physical, but Neymar's been getting kicked and hacked his whole career. So this whole, in the Premier League thing, he wouldn't really succeed like that. I'm not really hearing it. I think Neymar loves him. Tuchel loves him. So that would be, if we had the chance to sign him and Tuchel said no, I'd be looking at him a bit funny because that's staring at you in the face of instant success.
Right. What do you think about Chelsea's transfer windows and Chelsea's transfer targets? Are you very much like excited by this window, or are you kind of like you don't know where to look?
Well, at the start of the window, I knew like the new owners would have to like sort of get their feet under the desk and settle in and all that stuff. So I was willing to give them time. But as I was saying earlier, this is a social media era where you see your rivals doing stuff and it gets a bit frustrating. And if we were literally dead silent in this window and the owners were just settling in, I would be like, okay, cool. Like, I wish we were signing people, but obviously the owners need to settle in. But this whole, we're talking to this person, we're interested in this person, we're monitoring this person, but we're not getting any of them over the line. I've given them enough time where I'm just like, you know what? Like, surely you've got to get something done at this point. Like, it's always, in the next couple of weeks, we'll get something done, or we've got a meeting for Delict coming up soon, or like, we're in contact with these people. But I wanna, because obviously you guys have all experienced it. Like, I want an on-steam dagger. I want to hear we go from Fabrizio, man. Like, I'm actually tired, man. I'll be sorry, I'm genuinely tired. Like, I know hopefully, as in, I'm not fully on board with the Sterling signing.
No,
but
why?
At this point,
why are you not on board with it?
Good player, man. Good player.
And then I think Sterling is a good player, but looking at how he did at City, he had a system where he had bucket loads of quality chances created for him, and we don't create consistently and as well as City do. So obviously the numbers he was achieving in that system probably are going to come down a bit. And also at City, he was surrounded with De Bruyne and Bernardo and David Silva.
It's the same argument as Gabriel Jesus, but you got to see if Sterling will now step up and become the man. So it's
I hear what you're saying.
You've got to be happy with it, Roy.
Thing is, if here we go drop right now, I'm not gonna lie, I would be happy because it's someone coming in who would probably be our best attacker, and I think would do well for us. But my issue with Sterling is that he needs a creator alongside him, because if you look at the teams he's played in, he's had a lot of creators, and what we're looking for is a creator. So bringing in Sterling and not bringing in like a creative presence alongside him, I feel like it could be one second, Terry. It could be a situation where we end up with like the same numbers as some of our other attackers, where it's like, 5 goals, 4 assists, 7 goals, 3 assists, and like no 15 goals, 10 assists. If you brought Sterling and Neymar then I'm saying, you know what, I'm ready to eat. Like, I'm ready to eat if we bring in those two. But I think
Terry, I've got a bounce. So
I know you got to speak. I'll catch up with you soon, Patty. Top man,
people, take care, man. See you later.
Cheers, bro. Thank you. Look, I kind of get where you're coming from. I want to say about Raheem Sterling. You know, people say like the system the system at City only works because of the quality of players, including Raheem Sterling. They've got like, if City didn't need top players, Man City could just go out and they could just go and buy Leighton Orient squad and win the Prem. Like Raheem Sterling has been integral. He's a good creator. He's good on the ball. His directness is there. He scores a lot of goals that you don't have players at Chelsea that score. You
got elite positioning.
Yeah, he has. And he does what I call cleaning up the rubbish. Like any kind of loose ball around the edge of the box, he's there, he's on it, he's putting it in. And it's almost Ian Wright-esque in terms of what he does. And your point around when you need more creativity, that's true. But a lot of people did this with the De Jong deal that we haven't signed off yet or completed. But they were like, well, De Jong without all these other things being fixed is pointless.
That's not exactly true.
But equally, it's like, but we are going to fix those other things. Like, why? Yeah. Raheem Sterling comes in as a good signing. Now, if you sign no one else, it's a bad window. But Raheem Sterling as a player,
he's a good player. He's a good player.
I said this before. I honestly think at Chelsea, he won't ever be considered better than him. But I think over a 4 to 5 year period, he'll output what Eden Hazard did. He's not a better player, not technically better, not a better dribbler. I think he can score and assist more goals. I think he could do that for you because he is an output king. And I think a change for him is as good as a rest. I think he could be so potent at Chelsea. I think it's brilliant business.
I think he needs a new challenge as well. I think he's won everything. Oh, apart from the champs, he's won everything at City, but he's coming to a club that know how to win the champs. So maybe those two can. I don't know what that looks for, Killian. I was celebrating last year. I'm not sure what you were doing. But,
crying.
I was watching.
I think it could be a match. It could be a match made in heaven, or it could be another attacker that we've ruined.
You were going to say something. You were going to say something.
Yeah, I want to know what Gal thinks of it.
I was going to ask you. I think you're the last team out of the original top 6 to not. Sorry, since Manchester United just made a signing.
Yeah, we're the only one who haven't signed anyone. I'm aware.
Yes, you guys are the only ones who haven't signed anybody. I had a big debate with these guys about this the other day. I feel like your transfer window or your transfer strategy has changed dramatically since the new ownership have come in. Are you with it or against it? Because like they've basically said, forget about the transfer strategy. Just give Thomas Tuchel the keys and let him go.
Yeah, basically like whoever he wants, we'll try and go for.
It was like more like the people behind the scenes.
And then our transfer strategy before was basically throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. That was basically what we were doing. But obviously now Bowley's come in and he said, okay, I'll go out and negotiate all the deals. You just tell me who to go for. And I know, again, this might be unpopular with some Chelsea fans, but I'm going to say it anyway. I personally don't rate Tuchel's talent ID very highly, as in, I feel like some of the players we've been linked with, like Nathan Ake, I'm not sure why we're linked with him when, there's Koulibaly's out there, there's De Ligt, there's Bremer, there's centre-backs better than him out there. And again, we've heard his name 1,000 times linked to us. Apparently, Tuchel's a massive fan of Declan Rice, who I think Rice is great in that West Ham team, but in terms of how his game translates to a side like us, I don't think it translates very well. So why Tuchel is apparently obsessed with him and only wants him, it bewilders me. So a lot of the, not a lot, but some of the targets we are linked with, even Sterling, I'm not saying he won't be good for us, but again, I just feel like there's better out there who might suit us a bit more.
You're a snob. You're a snob.
No, Terry, it's not me snobbing. It's not me snobbing. It's just that I just think some of these targets, I'm just like, do you know better there? Why don't you just go for it?
I'll be honest with you. I think you're linked to, barring Ake, who's good, you're linked to a lot of top quality players. The thing is, your manager just like some players that aren't fashionable anymore. Like Declan Rice is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. I think in a Chelsea team with better around him, you're looking at one of the best midfielders potentially in Europe. How do we know this? He's better than Calvin Phillips, who's just trying for Man City, and Pep Guardiola.
I think that's debatable.
Okay, well, let's say they're the same level. Pep Guardiola, considered the best manager in the world with the best team in England, has just gone and bought him to be the new centre of his midfield. So if they're the same quality as each other, give or take, and one has just been picked to go and play for the best team in England, I don't get Chelsea fans' obsession with not wanting Declan Rice. He is absolutely phenomenal. And barring Tate, he's better than everything else you've got in a long way.
The fit's the issue for me because Rice is he's a destroyer. And if you watch West Ham closely, what I think personally our DM should be doing is showing for the ball, picking up from the centre backs, distributing, progressing it, and I just feel like I'm not disrespecting Rice, but a tiny bit similar to McTominay, where he does sort of hide from the ball at times. Where I'm not disrespecting, I'm just saying it is a quality that I've noticed in his game. I'm not saying he does it to the level McTominay does, so please don't cook me for that. But I'm just saying at times it does look like he's hiding from the ball. Whereas if you look at Jorginho, who I'm not saying he's better than him or he's worse than him or whatever, he's always showing for the ball. He always wants to pick it up. He always wants to distribute, similar to how De Jong does. Obviously, De Jong is a.
But Roy, are you even going to have money left over to get a Declan Rice if everything?
We won't sign him because West Ham wants stupid money, and we've got a lot of business to do beforehand. So I can't see us signing him this window. I personally think we need 2 centre backs, 2 forwards, a wing back who can play both sides, or ideally 2 wing backs, and then after that, maybe depending on like how much we've made from sales or how much Bodie's willing to spend, then we could go for a midfielder who, again, I personally don't think Declan Rice should be the first choice anyway. Yeah.
I think what's mad about when I hear that, and I do think it's a mad opinion. I really do. We haven't even got onto the unpopular opinions yet, but we will. What I find crazy about it is sort of like he's playing for West Ham, who have nowhere near the quality you do. So their style of play is different. How often did we see Leeds United get overrun, overplayed, and cut through like a hot knife through butter and smashed in the Prem the last 2 years? How often have we seen that?
Terry, I get what you're saying and I get where you're going, but even in those games, you saw what Phillips was doing
But you've seen what Declan Rice from it again. I honestly think if Declan Rice was French, this conversation wouldn't happen. Everybody would be getting on their knees, opening their mouths, and say, "Put it in my mouth, please." If his name was Tchouaméni, it's because Declan Rice is seen as dry and plain and unfashionable, in the same way that for some reason Raheem Sterling is now. When Chelsea were linked to Hakim Ziyech, nobody was watching him, but Ziyech's name that season, because of all the goals and assists he had, was buzzing all over Europe. His name was everywhere. And everyone's like, "Oh, I've got to buy him. I'm telling you now, if Sebastian Haller hadn't have flopped at West Ham, all the top Premier League clubs would have wanted him based on his season in the Eredivisie last year because of what he did. All that's happened to some of these Chelsea targets is they're just not fashionable anymore. When Nathan Ake was going to City, quite a few of the top Premier League teams were, "Oh, we should get him instead." Man United wanted him because he was left-footed. And then he goes to City, barely plays, and everyone's like, he's rubbish now. We do it with managers. Eddie Howe, no one wanted him. Just goes back to Newcastle and shows how good he is. Everyone's like, "I didn't know he was this good." No, it's because he became unfashionable. 4 years ago, he was what we now look at Graham Potter, and I'll prove it to you. In 2 years' time, everyone's going to think Graham Potter's washed. I mean, he's dead food now, him. And it'll be because it will lose that little buzz around him. Honestly, I think we are
quite reactionary.
Mad.
Based on what we've just seen, that's basically how we rate players. So
the thing is, I don't even think Ake would be a bad signing for you. I think the Ake signing,
I don't think it's bad. I think there's better out there.
I think what you're looking for with Ake is just some guarantee. You need a guarantee because your defense is going through so much of an overhaul. At least with Nathan Ake, he's getting a guaranteed left-footed, left-sided centre-back who can play in the 3 at a high level. I think that's all he's after there because
I don't think he's really
there's like Kalidou Koulibaly who's a higher level, but then you've got to take the time to let him adapt into a 3, and then we all know what managers are like. They want a left footer at the left and a right footer on the right. Nathan Ake just ticks all the boxes of a left centre back for a 3. So
it's not outstanding, but he does the job.
But I could see why. I could see the appeal behind it.
I don't think Declan Rice is going to move this window based on.
It's not. West Ham asking for way too much money.
The money, how much money Chelsea actually have, even if they make player sales,
it's sort of like 60% of the budget.
Yeah, so it's like, are you really going to spend 200 on those 6 players, then spend another 150 on Declan Rice? It doesn't make sense.
No chance.
Yeah, I mean, Declan Rice isn't going to move for £150 million either. He will go for a lot less.
Even if he forces a move, West Ham won't sell him.
Yeah, I disagree. Everything on this planet is for sale at the right price. You've just got to time it right and get it right. What will eventually happen, and I agree with you, Gary, it won't be this summer. Eventually, Declan Rice will force his move. And once players start putting in official transfer requests, it changes the market. Their value starts to decrease. When he doesn't sign a new deal, the value decreases. It's like the stock market. You know, when bad end of year results are announced by a company, their share price drops. When a player says, "I want to leave," the value drops in a player. And West Ham just need to make sure they don't end up... Listen, he's a much better player than Adama Traore. But once upon a time, Man City and Liverpool made inquiries for him and were prepared to pay somewhere between 50 and 60 million pounds for Traore. Wolves said no and tried to get 70. Now they can't give him away. Like West Ham need to be very careful here that they don't end up picking in 4 years' time, end up picking £30 million up for him because he's got no time left in his contract, when they could probably get themselves 80, 90 to 100 million now, if that makes sense, like including maybe a player swap or something. But it's interesting to take. We've got a lot of super chats that have come through that I don't want to miss any of these. Tom, this I think this is aimed at you. I don't know. It might be aimed at you or me. It says, like I said, clueless. Igal was correct. You don't miss out if you are. I think it's Tom. If you are rumored or reported to be in for a player, but don't make an offer. Irony lost on the Scousers.
Okay. So again, my point would just be, even if you want to apply that situation, so Hickey is your version of our Goethe and Brandt. We still ended up getting Salah and Mane. You have still missed out on Lisandro Martinez. So the point still stands of, I think there's serious concerns that you've missed out on your first two. I don't know if you should settle for your third because he might not be good enough. You might as well just wait it out.
I appreciate that. We've got 19 of these to get through, so we may not reply to all of them with as much detail. My goat Ronaldo, but can't take him. Bring me Neymar.
Yes,
is what
bring
Juan
me
says.
Neymar Jr., man.
How about we still have changing room leakers? Why be a coward? Stand on your word and put your name on it, is what Mike B says. Jesse here says, this is what Tom was asking Arsenal should do. Man United miss out on Nunes' number one target and move on to their number one target in another position, i.e. Anthony. Smarter business. I agree with that 100%. The reason why I agree with that is we haven't done that at Man United for 9 years and it's failed every year. So I'm very happy to see us go in a different direction. I don't know if it'll work, but I just want to see us do something a little different. Igal, Sancho scored 3, Rashford scored 4, Martial 1, Bruno 10. That is 18. They will definitely score more next season. Plus United will have Anthony, is what Zane says.
You still need more.
More for what, though? So that's the one question you didn't answer. When you say need more for what? What to achieve what?
You still need more squad depth than just those players.
To achieve what? What's the next part of that sentence? Though? We still need more to
contribute more goals in the team.
To achieve what?
To get you higher up the table from where you finished last season.
So if we go from 6th to 5th, what's the difference? Because you don't think we're making top 4.
Terry, you're trying to do this thing where you're saying,
my point is this. No, my point is this. Liverpool need to match what. No, stop.
You agreed with me. You agreed with me.
I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you. I agree we need to replace Ronaldo.
Okay, so done. Conversation over.
No, but that isn't the point. See, that doesn't where it end. But I said I'm not worried if we don't in the short term. So it's not conversation over. You said earlier, do you agree you need Lisandro Martinez?
Yes, but we can find out.
I don't want to hear about anything after that comment. You need him. If you missed out, it's panic stations, right?
Some people will panic. Some people won't.
No. You, though, would you panic?
No,
exactly. So I'm not panicking about Ronaldo. The point is, I said earlier, your own logic doesn't stand up. Man United need more to do what? To go up. If you were to say...
Improve from last season.
Yeah, and we will improve with or without Ronaldo.
Okay, but I don't think your attack will improve.
But the overall team will, so I don't worry about the attack. If we're a better team next year and we score more, win more, garnish more points, I'm happy. My point is this. Liverpool Football Club need to do more in the market if they want to win the league next year, because City are pulling away with their deals, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I'm making a point there at the end. If you were to say, I think Man United, without a Ronaldo, I don't think they've got any chance of top 4, but I think they can make it with a player like Ronaldo, that's a point. But you saying with or without Ronaldo, we're still not making the top 4. We're still not going to improve dramatically enough to compete with everyone else for the top 4 positions. It's a moot point. It doesn't matter, does it? Because we're still going to stand still. So what's the point?
With Ronaldo, your attack is good enough where you could at least be competitive in the league and in the Europa League. Without Ronaldo and just Anthony, you still need more in your attack, because I don't think Anthony by himself will replace Ronaldo's output. And I don't think the rest of the team will step up to the level to circumvent the goals that you're missing from Ronaldo. Does that make sense?
We scored more goals without Ronaldo than with Ronaldo in over the last 2 years.
The year prior.
You've been talking a lot.
The year prior,
I'm not finished my point, my brother.
Go ahead.
Over the last 2 years, we scored more without Ronaldo than with. That's not to say Ronaldo was the issue, but when Ronaldo came, our focal point changed about who scores the goals. It was Ronaldo. So, of course, his goals were important for us this season. But if we go back to a system that changes back to what we was doing before, where it was more of the Rashfords, the Brunos, and Martial, the front three, the forward players. Sorry, 1 second.
All right, cool, guys. Look, I want to try and move on from this point. I get what you're saying, Gal, and I'm playing devil's advocate with you because what you're essentially saying is you're not being completely honest about Man United. What you've just said there, you've changed your point. To be competitive, to maybe win the Europa League, to win trophies, to maybe get back in the top four, we need Ronaldo is a fair point because you're stating that the rest of the squad's good enough to do it without him. But what you've kind of done is an underhand dig with a secondary dig, which undoes the first point. You're not going to achieve anything anyway, but you still need Ronaldo to be better. But it doesn't matter.
It's not only about Ronaldo, Terry.
But you made it all about Ronaldo. But you're not hearing my point. You're not hearing the point at all. What you're trying to do is say we're shit anyway. But with Ronaldo, you'll be even shitter. Fair enough. But it doesn't really matter if we're in shit. We're in shit. Your second point, which you've changed to, which is with Ronaldo or a proper replacement for him that's going to score his goals, you can compete. That's a fair point you've made, but you didn't make that in the first place. That's all my argument was with you.
One thing we haven't acknowledged in this whole thing is there's other external factors that have left. Cavani's gone, Pogba's gone. There's other players who could have contributed to his team from years prior. Also gone.
But we've just
Ronaldo leaving is also somebody who's leaving, but there's a lot of pieces leaving from your team, and I don't see enough replacements.
Cavani last season scored better in the goals played in any games. We've just brought in Eriksen. We're looking like we brought in Malacia, who's a goal scorer in left back. If you actually look at his record, there are goals in this. This idea of Man United have got no goals in this team whatsoever.
They've got goals in their team.
One bad season compared to the seasons prior, I think is just a bit ridiculous.
And on top of that, just your point, Gal, we have got to move on with the other super chats. To the other point, I go back to what I said originally, and I stand by it as calmly as I can be. We all knew, every Man United fan worth their salt knows, by the end of this window, there's still going to be holes. So I get your point. There's still going to be holes, but what you originally did, with your little smile on your face, was you're going to have the worst this in the top six. And do you think that's enough? And my question was, enough for what? I think by the end of this window, whoever comes in and goes, we've got enough to seriously improve as a football team. And that's step one of a rebuild. The same as you guys. That's it. It's end of conversation.
No, but Terry, if I would have said Manchester United is not getting top four next season, you would have said no. Tell me why. And that's not what I'm saying. You've literally said Manchester United is not going to get top four.
I haven't said that. I'm throwing your logic back at you. I'm giving you my opinion.
Okay.
I haven't given you my opinion, Igal. I'm throwing your own logic back at you.
This whole time, you're basically saying Manchester United is not going to improve to what level?
No, I'm asking you that question. I asked you why you think we need to get that replacement. Is it the difference between us struggling and being successful? And you said, no, I still think you'll struggle. So the question then back to you.
But the reason why I said that is because it would take away your competitiveness. With Ronaldo, you'd be more competitive. That's a reality.
Competitive team. But I've got to move on.
We're just going in circles now, man.
We're moving on. I don't understand. A competitive team ain't struggling. They're competitive. Keep Ronaldo far away from the... I don't know what that's Gerb. Okay. Milinkovic-Savic to Arsenal, is that viable news? Listen, that man's agent links him to it's like that Gabriel.
It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything in that at all. 400k a week for a 38-year-old is insane. We need a director of football badly. The targets are spooky at Chelsea. Spooky at Chelsea.
We need Edwards or Mitchell.
That's what
we need. Edwards or Mitchell, man.
Blaze here says, Terry, you were wrong because if Neymar comes in those wages, then our prize assets like Reece James will want the same. So they don't. This is what you got to understand about wages. No. Ronaldo, by the way, Ronaldo being on 400k at 38,000 at 38. It's not stupid. Ronaldo has how many followers on Instagram as an example? Is it like 400 million or something?
Something silly like that.
Something like that. Do you know that Ronaldo charges somewhere in the region of about £1.5 to £2 million per Instagram post he does for companies? So if he goes to Chelsea and then suddenly he's wearing Chelsea shirts and he's publicizing the company, do you know how much money you're saving in advertising? If Reece and Neymar's similar, if Reece James can prove that he has the pull of a Messi or Ronaldo or a Neymar, then he can ask for as much money as them. If he can't, it won't do anything. Igal, Martinelli, Saka, Jesus, and Pepe scored the same as Son and Moura last season. How will you compete with Spurs? They aren't enough goals in your front three.
Spurs have a better attack than us. There's no way we're gonna outscore their attack. We're gonna have to improve in other areas.
Neymar is not worth the money or the hype, is what Lamin says. I don't know.
Neymar's worth the money and the hype.
I think if Neymar's dedicated to your team and he wants to be there, he's worth it. If he doesn't,
I think Tuchel can motivate him.
I think he could. My only issue with Neymar coming to England, it's not about Chelsea, United, any other club. I don't know if when it gets really cold and dark and grey in October, I don't know. I just get this feeling that he'll be like
when he goes to Molyneux.
Hey, all Chelsea need to do, instead of letting him go out to Brazil, bring his sister, bring his mom to England. So you don't have to go too far.
Same house, good. Steve here says, do you guys think Liverpool and City are worried about any other teams challenging them this season? It's a good question.
No,
I have a bit of an unpopular opinion about this.
Go on then.
Whilst it's very likely, but I don't think Liverpool's grip on second is a vice grip. I think I'm not saying you won't finish second. I think the likely situation is that you do. But let's say Núñez doesn't hit the ground running, and what we've seen in these comps is translating into the league where it's like terrible touches or he's miscontrolling the ball. I'm not saying he's a shit striker because he's not.
Ignore the comps before the goals, then okay.
Yeah, if he doesn't hit the ground running and basically do what he's meant to do, which is be not your main goal scorer, but at least be the Robin to Salah's Batman, then I don't think your grip on second is as strong as it should be.
We just played Jota. We just played Jota, who by halfway point of last season, before he got dropped, was on 14 Premier League
what
goals.
you're saying is all of this theory of yours is based on Núñez not scoring goals. I'm
not. Like I said before, and I think that it's very, very likely Liverpool finish second. Like they're miles ahead of in terms of how like strong they are. But I'm saying if let's say because don't forget Salah, Firmino, Mane were the red arrows. They were firing and blitzing defenses all over Europe. Let's say Núñez doesn't hit the ground running, and I know you've got Jota there, but a lot of your fans have even said, "Oh, when he's not scoring, what's he doing? Like, oh, his link up's this, his link up's that." I'm just saying, like, it's not completely out of the picture that attack might not function as well as we think.
Where the issue lies here.
That's what I'm saying.
Where the issue lies. Liverpool not finishing second is not just about their attack not firing. They've still got one of the best defenses in the league. So even if they're not scoring the 3, 4, 5 goals,
and next season is such an interesting thing as well because we're the top six
here. Beat them through their goals and beat their defense, and that's showing to be
the thing is as well. Next season, it's a World Cup year in December, so it's 2 months off. We benefit so much from that because I've looked at it today. We have 3 players who are week in, week out starters for their international team. 3. Salah's not going. Diaz isn't going. Robertson's not going. Our other 3 centre-backs won't go. Trent, God knows what's going to go on with him. So a lot of our core aren't going to go. So they just get a free 2 months off during the season, whereas all the other ones have to have a lot of players starting.
People love to I get. Listen, it's a hot take, so they're meant to be contentious. But I mean, we had one hot take someone sent through. It's the funniest one I've seen. It's the best. I tweeted it. The best response we've had is this guy that says Brighton are not going to concede a goal all season. I like that. That's a great hot take. Blaze here says to Czar on the panel. Why is Pep buying Alvarez and Klopp is getting Carvalho? Stop trying to detest the players we're linked with just because they're price. I think I
didn't say anything about their price. Like my issue isn't with the price. It's not my money. I don't give a shit what the price is. My issue is how they fit in with us, how they fit in with what Thomas Tuchel's philosophy is, and will that lead to them performing well for us? Like I don't give a shit about the price. As long as it's not like a stupid amount of money on a player who I don't think is that good. Sorry, Declan Rice. Then I don't really have an issue. Like if Neymar's going to be expensive, but I know what Neymar brings and I know how he fits, so I'm cool with it.
I hear that. C here says Tuchel hired a analytical team for the transfers. The news came out 2 days ago. Man's getting Moneyball here.
No, that's not true. That's not true. And then we're getting a team of analytics people in, but Tuchel's been using these data resources that he was using at Dortmund. He didn't hire an analytics team.
There we go. Rice should go to United. Perfect DM for Ten Hag. Now we've got De Jong that's coming in, that's playing that role, my friend, who's better than Deckers for 56 mil. It might not be. Igal is a sausage. Why is he representing Arsenal? Igal's not a sausage. He's a top geezer. He's a top
Why
geezer.
do you even read that?
Why'd I read it?
Yeah, it's a dickhead.
It says sausage, not dickhead.
Nah, I'm done.
You silly sausage. No, I heard that phrase. It's a very British phrase. That is.
Yeah, it's silly
Yeah,
sausage.
Yeah, it's not offensive, Gal. Don't worry.
Not really. Yeah, I call people sausages all the time. But there we go. I'm going to read you one of the other hot takes that's actually come through. I want to find a good one. This one here from AFC George, Arsenal fan, says Liverpool and Chelsea will struggle next season.
Liverpool and Chelsea.
I tell you what, no one's backing us to do anything next season, are they? No
I don't
one's
get
backing
this.
us to do anything.
I don't get where this.
I just
Liverpool
thought there are slight questions with Liverpool, as in, like in an ideal world, let's say Arsenal get everyone they want. Obviously, they've missed on a few people. Let's say they get players in all the positions they want. Chelsea get players in all the positions they want, and Spurs get the players in all the positions they want. I don't think Liverpool's grip on second is as rock solid as they might think it is. And
Yes, but
for
us to fall from second, we would need to have a worst case scenario season, i.e. Núñez doesn't hit the ground running, Diaz doesn't pick up, i.e. we still end up getting only like 5 goals. Thiago ends up getting a major injury, so he's out for 3 months. Fabinho's ended up playing so many minutes that he ends up getting muscle injuries.
Tom, it doesn't have to be that disastrous. Let's say you got 93, 92 points last season. Let's say that level comes down by about 5-6 points, which is still a great season. It's just didn't score as many points as last season. And then let's say with everyone else's windows, they're able to get 3-4 extra wins. Then it's a lot closer to the top than it was last season. I don't think that's how. I don't think that's how.
No. Roy,
I really don't see where this level 4 loss going to come from. I really don't see where it's going to come from.
Roy,
I'm not saying you're going to have like the 2021 season where everyone fell off.
Who's going to finish above Liverpool?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, thank you.
You know what? If we get all our players, I'm not counting.
Don't you dare say Chelsea.
Okay,
I'm not having Chelsea. I'm not having Chelsea above us.
If we get the 6 players Tuchel's promised, I'm not saying second's impossible. That's all I'm saying.
Roy,
it's unlikely. Cool. I don't think it's impossible.
What points did you finish with?
Okay, look, we got 74 points last season. And hold on, before you all jump at me. There's a reason for that. Like, we saw what happened with the injuries and Lukaku's thinking up the gaff and all the sanctions. Like, I know you guys are probably thinking I'm chatting shit right now, but just hear me out. So, I personally believe, let's say we won 21, drew 11, lost 6. I feel like if we get in 2 new attackers, we replace the centre backs, get cover at wing backs, so we're not playing as Pio and Alonso, who were absolutely garbage there. I don't see why we can't get 4 or 5 extra wins than we did last season. I don't think it's that far fetched. Add 12 to 15. Wait, hold on, Terry. Add 12 to 15 points. You look at 86, 89 points. Liverpool finished on 92. That's why I'm saying it's not that far fetched. I'm sorry.
No, listen. I was about to say. No. Let me just take a minute. We've got to move on, but it isn't too far fetched. Like, you're talking about a Chelsea team that drew a lot of games where they were still the better team. If they improve and they're better next year, Chelsea getting an extra 15 points ain't enough. But the only way it happens is if there is a drop off from the 2 at the top, and that's what remains to be seen. There's some super chats here. First one says, "Why would Ronaldo sign for Chelsea? He isn't he their nemesis?"
Not a nemesis. He scored like 1 league goal against us. He's not our nemesis.
There we go. Dinesh, evening, Terry and everyone. As time does not find. Sorry, I can't read sometimes. Evening, Terry and everyone. As time does not need to fire from day one, as has other front. I don't understand what you're saying. I'm so confused. I'm really sorry. As time does not need. As Timo does not need to fire from. I don't know what you mean. I don't know the time it means. I honestly don't understand what you're trying to say there, my friend. I'm very sorry. Chelsea will have a better attack than Liverpool.
Spurs. Please don't throw us on the bus.
Spurs, right? Lenglet and Spence are in.
Come off it. Come off it. I'm not having Lenglet and Spence in conversations with our defence. I'm not having it.
Okay, what about the better league manager part? Because Conte's league record is pretty impeccable.
He's a better league manager. It doesn't matter when he's got a club that doesn't know how to win stuff. You have to win something. I'll tell you right now, Tottenham's first trophy under Conte, if they win one, will not be the league, because you need to win something. That you need a winner's mentality in that team. And right now, who have they got? Hugo Lloris and Perisic, are they like the only players that have won something in that Tottenham squad? You need a winners mentality.
Well, they
and
won an
do not
LG
have
Cup there, Tom. Don't take that away from them.
Yeah, I think we need to put some respect on
Look,
the Aldi Cup, man.
Again, the only way Spurs are winning a league title is if Leicester scenario happened again, but that would take 4 or 5 other teams to be completely off.
I can't believe Clement Longley was brought into that debate then. Jesus
sorry,
Christ.
let's just move through these, please. Sorry, boys. Tuchel won't see the season out under Todd Bowley. I've seen a few people reply to that actually on the tweet I put out there. Tuchel to get sacked this season. Zane here says, oh, sorry, I've already had that one there. There were some new ones that came through. Our CFC problem was never big clubs. It was losing to crap teams like Everton, where we should have picked up 3 points.
Good point. With a better attack, that doesn't happen.
Would you mind going back to the super chat I sent earlier as you didn't say it fully? Oh, okay. I tried to actually, but everyone started jumping in and I can't read. My dyslexia is this. I can't read when people start talking. It's so weird. My brain stops working. My kids do it all the time. I'm reading something. They start talking to me. And I'm like, please stop because I can't read. I'll go back to it for you, though, my friend. Let me find it here. Let me just read the rest of it out. Sorry. Here it is. Why would Ronaldo sign for Chelsea? Isn't he their nemesis, as Chelsea couldn't win the league a lot of times and dominate back in the noughties? No, I mean, look, Chelsea won the league. The first 2 years they won the league back to back, Ronaldo was here. And then there was the 3 years, and then Ronaldo left. So I wouldn't say it was in fairness, Chelsea, he didn't score very many against Chelsea.
He only scored 1 league goal against us.
Yeah,
and he's won the Champions League final as well.
He didn't do very well against Chelsea, but there we go. Viewers, I appreciate it a lot. We didn't hit the like numbers. We're like 50 short. Highly entertaining today, everyone. And Tom, you really aren't clueless. Great show all. An underhanded dig there. Viewers, I appreciate it massively. Do me a big favor before you leave and smash that like and share button. If we hit the numbers tomorrow, we'll gift out those memberships. We were just a little bit behind today. Until next time, take care. Goodbye.